1 a.m. We could all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay.
There was a sign-up sheet when you came in the door. If you want to speak, what happens with the budget now is this is a public hearing where you get to speak, you get to make comments, you need to ask questions. This is your time to talk. We asked to have you sign up on the budget sheet, the sign-up sheet, so that's really be the order that we would take people in. If we had a whole lot of people, we would have order on.
And if anyone forgot to sign
So
in,
if
it's
anyone
here.
wants to sign in, they can. What I'm gonna do is I'm going to describe a little bit about the budget process, because I know that we have new people here, and we just need to be reminded. So what happens by law, every year the town board has to create an annual budget. So what was handed out is the annual budget that was created by the board back in last month. And it's a proposed budget. What we have to say is this is how much money we think we're gonna have coming in. This is how we're gonna spend the money. The top item on that budget sheet is tax levy. You as the electors, after we're done with the public hearing, will have an elector meeting where you determine how much money to assess for levy. That money will be assessed, determined today, and then that money will be put onto the tax bills that you'll get next month. And that's the money that is spent in the year 2025. As a part of that process, the board had to post the meeting in 3 public places. So the 3 places that we posted the notice and the budget summary is at Tall Pines, Val Acres, and then the board in front of the town hall. We also posted it on the website. If you go to the town website and it's under agendas, and then there'll be a place for the meeting agenda and the packet that was handed out. There are copies here for you to look at. After the meeting today, you get to do your comments today. You then do the levy, say this is how much money to assess. Then at the next regular board meeting, so Courtney will put it on the agenda, that the board then does their final approval on the budget. And then that becomes budget for next year. What I'm going to do today, just to kind of summarize what's happening, in the budget when we prepared it, by law, we're required to have the 2023 budget and end of year expenses. So this is actual budget versus actual. For 2024, we have the budget, then we have to have actual through a certain date, and then estimate what the rest of it's gonna be, so this becomes then our total budget. This is what we have planned and going to have planned for revenue, and then expenses. So what happened in 2023 is our budget was at $437 for expenses. Our expenses were a little higher because our revenue was higher. We ended up with a surplus of $184,000 at the end of 2023. This is the budget for 2024. This is our actual expenses, our revenue, our actual expenses, our projected expenses, and then what we have is a deficit of $122,000 is projected for 2024, which is very serious. So now you say, well, where did that money, what happened to the money? Well, this money that we had surplus is being spent. What we have right now is a very serious situation in that, thank you to Jane and to Courtney, who updated our financial records. Courtney has the financial records in QuickBooks, and Jane has them in Quicken. Carol had not been using Quicken, so Jane updated it, and as of October 28th, both of their systems reconciled to each other, and also reconciled to the bank, so that we know where we're at financially. And what we have is a bill that came in. October was good for surprises. We got a bill for $215,000 for County Road county roads. We can't pay that bill because our checking account only had $36,000 in it, and our savings account, our contingency, which is a money market account, had $15,000 in it. So we don't have enough money to pay the bill. However, I mean, you look here, this is what we projected for expenses of $676,000 for transportation, and we only had a budget of $412. Well, we also have, okay, it's not working. We also know that, I'm gonna have to update it, that our revenue is gonna come in where we had projected the $283,000, that is the total that's all we're gonna get, there is no more. This is our shared revenue, so we are expecting, where you think that we had actual of 172 to get to 283, we only are gonna get $76,000, which is what we received. We have 79 actual, we will go up to the 53, so we are gonna get another payment of the difference of about $45,000. We have the transportation aids, we have the $103,000, that's all we're gonna get, we've already received it. We are still waiting for the 2 grant monies to come in from the county for the 2 projects, the road project on 4th Avenue and the road project on Eagle Avenue. So that's about the only money that we expect to have coming in to be able to pay the bills. And that's not gonna quite cover once this money comes in for the roads, that won't quite cover the bills, so we're gonna have to spend more money out of our checking account. I don't know yet if we're gonna have to move any money from savings into checking or not to pay the bills for November and December. However, both those months are slow months in terms of the bills coming in. So we basically only have a little bit more for transportation because we had to do some repairs, and then we'll have a little bit more for the utilities, like to pay the heat and electricity for the building. So what we did, so I think we're okay for 2024, but it's very tight. There is no more money available sitting anywhere. For 2025 then, we took the approach of our 2025 budget is going to be just slightly a little higher than what it was in 2024 because we do get an increase because of the changes that happen with the assessed value. So that number has been confirmed by the Department of Revenue because they control how much money we get for levy. The $54,000 and the $103,000, that's shared revenue that comes in from the state, and it has to be used for transportation or fire services, and the transportation aid has to be used for transportation. So we're required to spend some money on transportation. The rest of these amounts are, I call them minor amounts. They come in for dog licenses, which we have to share with the county. Room tax, we have to share with the county. The 2% dues comes in, that has to go to the village fire department because they're the ones that do the fire protection and inspections. So we get a little bit of money, but it's not a lot for us to depend on. What we also did we have to balance our budget so that it's $468,000 is the revenue coming in, and it balances to the $468 that we're going to be spending. What we did is we looked at the operational items that we have, like we have to pay the salaries, we have operating like paper and pencils and ink and things like that we have to pay for. We have to pay for buildings, we have to pay the utilities. Buildings kept it the same as this year at $16,000 because even though we had repairs in 2024, we're also going to need to do a repair probably in 2025 because we're looking at probably having to do something with the furnace in the second building. All of the others are pretty much, okay, we dropped the attorney fee down to $5,000. We didn't eliminate it because we think there's still going to be some carryover from what's being done now with transition and going in, so we need to have a little bit of money in our account for 2025 to pay the bill. also have, taken this is the 2023 level for transportation. We kept it the same as that for 2025. We had to spend some money on roads. Because we have transportation aid coming in, so we have to do something, so we're just gonna minimize it, not do all the crazy stuff that we did this year. The difference between the revenue and expenses, our expenses were actually a little lower than the revenue, so we took the $40,000 difference and put it in a line called to reserve, or to contingency or reserve. Right now, our budget is at just for easy purposes here, our budget's at $500,000. The Towns Association says that you should have 10 to 20% of your budget sitting in reserve. Well, our reserve only has $15,000 in it, so we really, on a $500,000 budget, should have between $50,000 and $100,000 in reserve for any emergency that may come up. So in 2025, the plan is to put some more money back into reserve and get that built up. When we moved here 8 years ago, we didn't have much money in reserve, so we haven't had a lot in reserve, but we need to get back into having a little bit more than 15,000. So does anybody have any immediate questions on what I just rattled off on the budget?
Yeah, how much grant money is coming in yet from the county?
From the county, we expect $12,160. It's on the LRAP transportation aid line to 4th Avenue, 12,000 for 4th Avenue, and then for Eagle Avenue, 145,000.
Oh, I thought you said there was more coming in than that.
No, that's all we have coming in.
And the LRIP grant, I think is maybe what they
The
were.
which?
The LRIP grant, the one that you're expecting, the 170, I think is maybe what he was questioning, how much that was. Cause it's from the state, but it comes through the county.
Yeah, there was a total road grant earlier of 600 and some thousand.
Well,
I don't
right.
see that reflected anywhere.
The $600,000 was the grant that came in. What happens is, you're spending the money down here, and then it's based on a reimbursement. So if we only spend 200,000, or let's say 300,000 is where we were at, we spend 300,000, we get 145,000 back.
Okay, so does the rest of that grant carry over to next year?
No, the rest of that grant money goes away,
Okay,
goes back to the state. Same thing happens with the 4th Avenue. The grant is like for $40,000 or $49,000, I'm not sure which. We have to spend that $49,000, and then we get $12,160 back. So the expenses are down here on the transportation line, because we paid Gasser, we paid the county for both those projects. So the expenses are down there.
So are you planning to apply for more grants for next year?
I'm not aware of any at this moment.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that we wouldn't happen, but I'm not aware of any grants.
The only other weird one on your budget sheet is something goes from 12,000 down to 0 and it's minus 200%. Obviously, that's a glitch.
Must be.
There's two of them in a row.
Which line is it?
Oh, is it the LRIP
Yeah.
Maybe
line?
the AIDS line, going down 12,000, going down 145,000, both of them are minus 200%.
Oh, they should
That
just
must be the
be,
new math.
Okay, because my sheet doesn't
I went to
have that.
public
Must be,
school.
must be we fixed that. Because my sheet doesn't have that.
yeah, they went down, it should be 100%, yeah, they
Okay.
completely went down, cause it was those grants, so we're not expecting to get
Yeah,
those next year.
we did eliminate the one-time money when we did the 2025 budget.
The only other question I had is on the website, there hasn't been any treasurer's report since July. Are those gonna be updated soon?
Yes,
Okay.
That's good.
in fact, Jane has worked very hard, and we had issues with the last one, that wasn't balanced, and Carol left. So now Jay's been working hard, and she's given me a draft to look at, to get caught up.
Caught up is good.
Are there any other questions?
So you go to your comment list and see who's,
John was the one John Fulmer you
Yeah,
have
the only question I have is what road projects are planned for next year.
So in the spring, Brian Trebekowski will drive our roads, and then he'll give us a list of the ones that he thinks we should focus on, and then we'll discuss, from there.
Okay.
So we really won't know until the spring.
Yeah, it's a part of an standing thing, it's a part of a tour that is done with the county and say, this is what has
I
to happen.
realize that, used to talk to the village about that too. It'd be nice if the tour was done this year, so you could know how much you need to spend next year.
Plan for
Well,
next.
but what we do-
Rather than the other way around.
What we do is we guess on how much we're gonna
I
spend,
know.
we know that. But one of the issues we run into is we don't know what kind of damage is gonna happen to the roads over winter. How much are we gonna need for snow plowing, some of that stuff.
On Evergreen Avenue, it's happening right now. With potholes.
Right, so what I wanna see is a pothole patrol like in March, so we can say, okay, this is where we need to focus on getting things done, because we do have money coming in to pay for roads.
Okay. So,
Now that's assuming that you pass the levy.
Does anybody else have anything? You wanna raise your hand? Pete, you got anything? No?
No more questions or comments, and we can.
Then we'll adjourn the meeting at 9:48 for the public hearing. Want me to open the other one?
Yep, we can go right now.
Okay, and then we'll call the special town electors meeting to approve the 2024 total town tax levy to be collected in 2025 to order.
So the motion is laid out on the agenda, what it needs to be, so someone who is, well, actually, the first thing we should do is determine voting. So it does say on the agenda that it'll be by paper ballot, because that's what everyone wanted to do last year. I do have paper ballots if you wanna do it that way, otherwise, if you guys wanna do a show of hands, we can just do a show of hands. Someone just wants to make a motion either way, whether you wanna do paper ballot or show of hands.
Make a motion, we do show of hands.
Okay?
Second it.
John McGarry.
Okay. Okay, and then you have to call for a vote
Discussion?
on it.
Okay,
For discussion.
okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Please raise your hand. And let me count so I know how many people are here. And everyone is a qualified elector of the town of Westfield, right? No one here does not live in the town?
No, you have to live in the town.
Boy, you know a lot, don't you? Yeah.
Okay, and then all opposed.
All opposed?
Okay.
And the peanut gallery?
I should just recognize, they do own property, that's why they're interested, just that they don't live here. We're trying to talk them into moving, but, you know,
We double their taxes, don't we?
I don't have any control over that.
Okay, yep, and then someone needs to make that motion.
I make a motion, we adopt the levy as printed.
Is there a
By
second?
Josh.
I'll second.
Thank you.
And seconded by Gary.
Okay, any discussion? Nope. All in favor, raise your hand.
16, perfect.
Unanimous.
And then we, yeah,
All opposed? All right, motion passes.
all right, and that was all that's on the agenda, so you can adjourn.
Okay, and then we'll adjourn this meeting at 9:50.
At 9 what?
50.
9:50.
I thought it said 9:40, I said, wait a minute.
No, 9:50. Both of those clocks are off, so I'm just going with US Cellular time.
All right,
All right, we should be all good to go.
Yep, we are, thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
thank you.